Greetings, most excellent YouTube friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm Troy, and this is Troy Draws Things. If you couldn't tell, I just recently finished watching all of the Bill and Ted movies, including the newest one that just released, Bill and Ted Face the Music. And I'm reminded of how much I enjoyed those movies as a kid. After watching it, I couldn't help but think, with the way this year is going, 2020, it's just been crazy and all out there. And I felt like one thing that we need to be reminded of is to be excellent to each other. Something that sadly, this year especially, we're not doing a whole lot of. So in honor of the most triumphant return of the great ones, I thought I'd do a Bill and Ted themed drawing and share it with you guys. I'll add the air guitar in post. Am I getting it in there? Excellent! Before I started this guy, I did some thumbnails in Procreate, got some ideas out, came up with a layout and a concept that I liked best. Once I had that, I went ahead and before started filming, I drew up the rough sketch, got everything laid out the way I wanted it, and then I started drawing. I had some trouble with Ted's face. It was giving me a lot of problems. Kept thinking it looked more like Michael Jackson than I thought it looked like Ted. So that's why you saw me going back and forth with that. I liked how Bill came out. Bill I thought came out pretty good, although after I had pretty much everything drawn, I realized that he looks really small. He almost looks like a child compared to Ted, even though Ted's definitely a taller guy. It was a little intense, but it is what it is. I was happy with the overall drawing, so I didn't feel like changing it. Had to look at references for Billy and Thea. Actually, I looked at references for all of them, but definitely I had a little bit more trouble finding references for Billy and Thea. But I think their likenesses came out pretty well from the references that I found. And they're definitely, Billy and Thea are definitely a couple of my new favorite characters from the series. I wasn't too sure, how big a part they were going to play and how interesting they would be, but they're definitely pretty awesome. I would love to have daughters that were that cool. I'm starting on the inking phase. Starting out with the brush. That's how I usually prefer to start. Start down at the bottom corner generally and get some of the thicker lines. Get kind of used to using the brush. So I find that even once after I've had a lot of practice with the brush and can control my lines fairly well, I like to start out with a thicker, less intentionally controlled line. That way I can, adjust my control as I go through a drawing, instead of just trying to start out with the thickest or with the most delicate lines. Gives me a little bit of a chance to adapt my control for each drawing. And I hope you can excuse the sugar ants that occasionally draw across my drawing. I've got to put some ant traps out in my studio, which I call the swamp. If you're a MASH fan, you might get the reference. Although I don't have a still yet. I got to Thea's hair, started getting a little bit of a dry brush, but I like the effect. Especially you can see on the left side of her hair, it gets a little dry and kind of rough, but I thought that looked good for her hair, so I left it. You notice that I'm not working on any of the faces at this point. I like to leave those to the end. The faces are the thing that if you mess that up, it can really ruin your whole drawing, and it's a lot harder to go back and use whiteout or any liquid white or anything like that, and then be able to redraw it, I think, after. So that's why I leave that for last. I haven't done any faces yet. Typically I'll go in with a nib and do the faces. And that's today's video. That's my Bill and Ted drawing. If you enjoyed, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and smash it. Be sure to subscribe, and you guys remember, be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes! But in a responsible, socially distanced fashion. You know, I've always wanted a good robot version of myself, but I've also kind of wanted an evil robot version of myself even more. Is that bad? Dude, don't fear the Reaper. Best of 7. You're damn right. I love that movie. It's just the best.